Let me just do this real quick. Okay, so fiscal year 20, we actually have a reduction of approximately $489,000 in expenditures, and largely all that reduction is to the personal services, and the chief can allude to this when we get to it, but we originally budgeted for a certain amount of people, and as of right now, there's a lot of vacant positions out there, so that's why you see that reduction is because the personnel is just not there. And some of that reduction is offset by an increase in overtime, which makes sense if budget some personnel and those personnel are vacant, then you're going to have some additional overtime costs. So we have approximately 200, or with the two of those accounts combined, you have approximately $326,000 increase in the overtime area, and then you have a reduction in traffic detail, just again, reductions related to the detail not going on for the next couple weeks. So we have that reduction there in that cost. But the total of those reductions and the increase in overtime is approximately about $490,000 decrease to the department for the current budget year. And then for fiscal year 21, it's a $344,000 increase, which is mostly all related to personal services. So as you look at it between this budget year and next budget year, the personnel, the FTE is exactly the same. It's just that there's some vacancies in this year, that's why you see that reduction. The FTE for the police department is 101 FTE, broken down. I mean, they're on your detail report on page 96, give you the breakdown of those items, and I also have the personnel sheet here as well. To it, and it's kind of like there's a lot of people on it, but I have like a summary of what we're looking at by union and by position. So again, this shows 102, but there's a part-time position FTE, so the total FTE is 102 with that part-time position. So, but again, this kind of data is on page 96 of your detail because that has the FTEs on there. So,
just a quick question for the chief.
Okay, go ahead.
Chief, just wondering, as far as our personnel, as you're saying, hard getting personnel today, what's it look like for expectations down the road of more losses, possibly through retirement, coming up soon? Because like I said, if we're hurting now, does it look like we could be in bad shape in another year if we start getting more retirements?
Yeah, everybody's under the same struggle right now. The unfortunate thing is the police academies are actually closed down. So they're not even operating right now. They're trying to do some distance learning, having some online things, but as you know, with the police academy, much of it's hands-on. You just can't do that. So there's no one picking up anyone at this point unless they've already been certified. And most of those people that were certified are easily picking up jobs, so they already have their jobs. So we're having problems with that. So as far as what it looks like down the road, we're hoping that this pandemic ends, as I'm sure everybody here is, and once that happens, I think we can free some things up and get moving again. So, but I can't give you an overview of the department if you guys want to know where we're at right now.
Because I'd like to know roughly.
Yeah,
I know
I'll
we
give you
want to have a set amount. I was just curious where we were at by that, and then possible projections on retirements.
Sure. I'll break everything down for you. If you have questions as I'm going through, just wave at me, yell, and I'll clarify for them. Right now, we currently have 79 sworn officers. We have one that has been suspended without pay for a while. Not to get too personal, but we're waiting to get a finality on that fairly soon. Right. So we do have one that's suspended, and he's not being paid. So we have 14 public service officers, those are the non-sworn that work inside and assist our officers. We do, actually I should say 14 and a half. Number 14 and a half is actually Catherine Vellante. She's working over here in the phone center. So we're paying a portion of her salary as well. So just to break down those numbers for you a little bit, we have 14 supervisors, that include myself, the deputy chief, all the way down through our lieutenants and sergeants. We have 8 officers that are working in our detective division. We have 41 that are currently road patrol. We have 3 what we consider outsourced officers one at MNET, which used to be Drano. We have Homeland Security, HSI has one, and the DEA has one. We have 4 special operations officers that are working down in all of our multi-housing facilities, especially down in our southwest corner still. There's some funding that is available for them as well. 2 school resource officers, and we have 1 corporal that is in our records division. So that's kind of a breakdown of what we have right now. In addition, we do have 2 civilian employees. One's a full-time, it's our administrative assistant, and that helps out the deputy chief and I upstairs. And the other one's a part-time officer, retired Officer Rich Todd. He works down in our property room. So that's the basic breakdown of what our department's looking at right now. Any specific questions about that, fire away.
What, personnel-wise, how many are down in the south end? How many personnel that are assigned down there?
Well, we have 4 of the special operations. Now, again, they're not exclusively assigned down there, but 2/3 of their time is down in
Did
there.
they come in on a grant? Are they part of a grant?
They are, but we're just about done with that
Oh,
grant. That's correct.
okay.
Yeah. We're also there's some other funding that's helping them out as well.
Well, doesn't some of the funding come from the properties down there as well?
Jason probably can explain exactly how that money's.
Yep, as you recall, there is an agreement with the TCDC Corporation for police services that was amped up based on, I believe, that one of the COPS grants was for the policing of the apartment complexes. So when that grant was approved, the TCDC also approved an agreement with the police department for extra coverage down at those areas. So, and then in return, TCDC would pay an hourly rate for those officers that are billed. They're billed out monthly by the department to TCDC. So,
Those used to be an overtime detail. We've eliminated that several years ago. So the officers are working a regular shift now, and that's where they're assigned.
So our goal is to basically, real quick, how many people are you kind of anticipating retiring this year?
Well,
I mean, if you
I
can,
think what's
to the
happened
best of your
is-
knowledge, you know?
What's happened right now has scared a couple of them away. We had 2 that they told us they were 99% certain they would be leaving by July. One of them has already told me that I'm not going anywhere. The second one, probably still up in the air, but I would say more likely than not, he will not be leaving either. So I believe our current numbers will maintain throughout at least 2020. And then at that point, there's a few others that are eligible. And when I say few, it's like another 3. So potential of losing in 2021 up to 5 of these officers, I would think is fairly likely.
Well, right now, how many are we looking to add? Like just-
Over budget, currently budgeted, and we're again asking for 84.
Okay,
That would
that's
be
the
our
number.
number.
I thought it was 84.
And with our new budget, we're also requesting a bump up in our public service officers, because right now, currently, we have officers that are working inside dispatching, actually sometimes answering the phone, and when some of these public services officers call off, we're having to staff them with police officers at a
Overtime.
much, much higher rate. So that's why we're looking for a bump in those public service officers.
Quick question. On the list for personnel for police department, is that list expired, or is it been run out or gone through? Where is it sitting at about right now?
We currently do not have a list because it's been expired. Our last offer was actually out to a former PSO who is in Police Academy, who's now back as a PSO with us right now. So, yeah, but the list is currently exhausted.
Well,
And without having the possibility of testing, because the testing center has closed down as well, they can't test. So we have no way of actually even bringing anyone in if we even wanted to. So.
I think I can come back to work.
Yes, yeah, he's back working. Yeah,
I'll answer phones.
he gladly came back.
You never forget.
No, he's good.
okay, so going through, Chief, so we just kind of we talked about the personal services. For fiscal year 21, we have a little bit of a reduction in the overtime estimation, but that's just kind of like hoping that the police, like I said, the vacancies are filled, which will reduce some of that emergency overtime. If there is vacancies, obviously that might have to be addressed next year, but usually last few years it's been kind of a game where if there's no officers, then overtime goes up, and then we reduce the regular wages because of the vacancy. So, so as we expect the vacancies not to be there next year, then the overtime will hopefully go down. So that's what you see in the fiscal year 21 budget for the personal services area.